First off, thank you all for joining this evening. And I want to start off with the very basics. I mean, you already have heard this, but I feel like I need to talk about it again, which is class grades. Class grades are basically going to be the assignments that come off of the College Board website. And they're obviously, we've been giving multiple choice and free response. Your grades are actually going to come from the multiple choice. So get the multiple choice done, send that in. I highly recommend you practice the free response, but because there's an issue on uploading those things, and also because it's just it's a nightmare to try to grade those things, because it's you don't have to do the FRQs, but I would recommend them because I think they're good practice, and also I think because they were issued directly by College Board, they're going to cover things that you want to know. So that should cover pretty much class grades, and that goes for everybody. Right. If you have other questions about class grades that are specific, I'd like to answer those at the end of this meeting. Okay, so let's talk about the exam itself. The AP exam itself for statistics has been moved this year from the 15th, from Friday, May 15th till Friday, May 22nd. Okay, so that's the Friday going before Memorial Day. So that's when the exam will be. The exam will be 45 minutes in length. That is a complete change, and I think you all knew this, but that is 45 minutes in length. That's a complete change from what it's been in the past. Also, there'll be no multiple choice. It will all be free response, and in this case, there are only going to be 2 free response. All right. So there'll be 2 free response questions. And I'll just tell you real quickly, there's some good news because there will not be what they call an investigative task, which means there's no question 6 type problem. Question 6 were always the investigative task. There will not be a question 6 type problem. So that's really good news. Now, the questions themselves. There's, like I said, there'll be 2 questions. The first question will be 25 minutes in length. And the second question will be 15 minutes in length. I do not know what they'll be comprised of. I'll discuss that in a moment though. The 25-minute question, after you'll answer that question, and as soon as after your 25 minutes are up, you will have 5 minutes to get that listed, uploaded to College Board. If it's not uploaded in time, then they will not score it for you. All right, so you'll basically have 25 minutes to upload it. So you'll take the 25-minute first question. You'll have 5 minutes to upload it, and then you'll start the next question, and the next question will be 15 minutes in length, and then you'll have 5 minutes to upload it as well. How do you take the test? The test, you have a couple different choices. 1, you can take it on your phone. 2, you can take it on the computer. 3rd, and what I highly recommend is that you take it using a paper and writing on the paper. If you take it writing on a paper, what you will do is you will download the test to an electronic device, whether that's your phone or whether that's your computer. I'm not sure. That's going to be up to you. I have a recommendation. I would recommend that you use a computer or something with a larger monitor so that you can see the test question much better. So I would recommend doing that. Then, but you don't have to, and you can write. So then you can write directly on a piece of paper and write your answers. And once time is called, once time is called, you can take a picture of it and upload that picture to your computer, and from your computer up to College Board. Now, to me, that's a kind of a complicated process. They are going to have, and I don't know when this is going to happen, but they're going to have times where you can actually practice this process to make sure it's going to work. I think we're going to find out about that at the end of this week, but I'm not sure. It may not be until the following week. But at any point, whenever I do find out what that date is, and how we can do those practices so that you can actually make sure that you get your answers up there. I'll let you know. As far as material on the test, basically it'll be the entire year with the exception of chi-square. Now regression is on the test, but inferences for regression are not. So basically, confidence interval and hypothesis test for regression, not on the test. Scatter plots, correlation coefficient, coefficient of determination, that will be on the test. All right? Basically, and the reason they cut off the last 2 units is because, or the chi-squared and the regression, is because the majority of schools did not get that far. I'm a little disappointed because I felt like that's where my students tend to shine. So I wish we would have had that part, and we did get that far. So that's the actual material on the test. So one of the big things is test security. Because you're going to be most likely you'll be taking this exam at home. And when I say most likely, I think there's a very, 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 very small unrealistic shot of us going back to school before you take the test. If we do go back to school, you'll take it at school, but that's not very likely. So assuming that you're at home, you'll take the test at home. And the question is, what type of test security? They won't share that with us. They say they have great things for test security. However, so basically the one thing that I think they're looking for, and they say they have good ways of knowing, is whether is the sharing of information between student to student, or making sure that or student to teacher, or whatever the case may be. So make sure you're not contacting another person. That's the one thing that they're very strong on. As far as, well, what about notes or textbooks and things of that nature? The fact of the matter is, you are going to be allowed to have access to it. It's not denied you. You're not cheating. They've specifically said that material is available to you during the test. That said, obviously, if you don't know where materials are, that's not going to be very useful to you. If you have to spend half your time looking for the material, you wouldn't be able to finish. That said, something like the note spiral, if you had the note spiral on and you're on a computer, you can actually do a Control F for Word, and it would take you to spots on the note spiral. So that might be a benefit to you. Obviously, formulas and conditions and things of that nature, this might be helpful because you're not going to have to memorize it. You just need to make sure you can access it quickly, either because you've memorized it or you know where to find it on paper fairly rapidly. Obviously, if you're taking it at home, you need to make sure that you have reliable internet. If you don't have reliable internet, or you have an issue with devices or having adequate devices, please email me. I will be contacting all of you to ask you that, but please, as soon as you know, please email me. College Board has said that they will help you, and I think the school will help you as well. Please don't hesitate to do that. That is really critical, that you have adequate email. I mean, adequate, not email, but adequate Wi-Fi or service, internet service. The last thing I wanted to find out is someone's internet was flaky, and so consequently they took the test, they knew they did well, and they weren't able to upload it. That would be horrible. So please, if your internet is shaky, etc., please let me know. It's really important that we make sure that you have a reliable device and reliable internet. I don't know how they're going to work that out. I just know that they say that they will. So I'm going to trust them at that point. Okay. So that's the test. That's what I know about the test. Now, how are we going to conquer the test? Well, obviously, you have the multiple choice questions that we're giving you. Those primarily are for your grades and to stimulate things that you may have forgotten, because they provide foundational information. So the most important things are going to be practicing of FRQs. If you ask any of my students what the most important thing they did to prepare for the AP exams, they would say, hey, we came in and we took practice tests. Unfortunately, due to the coronavirus, that's not going to be accessible to us. We're not going to be able to come in and take practice tests. But we've come up with what we think is probably a good solution for that. Mrs. Lamb, I thought, had a really good idea, and I think we can make it work. So I'm jumping a little bit ahead of myself. So first off, I'm going to continue posting notes. Tomorrow will be the next set of notes, and it's actually, they're posted now. So tomorrow we'll start the first half of probability. And because I have some new technology, or it's not new, I have access to some technology that I didn't, I will be working the problems as we go through the notes. So hopefully those Zoom sessions will be very beneficial. I will be recording those Zoom sessions and posting them probably the very next day, maybe that evening, depending on how quickly I can make the conversions, but get those things uploaded for those who are not able, for whatever reason, to be there. Again, I encourage you to be at the Zoom session so that you can ask questions, but that's up to you. I get it. I've checked it out. I can upload a very, very long video, and it seems to work reasonably well. Hopefully I won't mess it up. Otherwise, I'm going to have a lot of extra work to do making a second video. But nonetheless, I will be filming tomorrow's Zoom and posting it up. The notes for that Zoom are already posted in your Google page. So that's one thing that's available for the review. The next, and that's we've already kind of been doing. The next thing that's available for the review is online College Board videos. And so there are two people. I think one of them is named Brandon. I can't think of his name now. And the other one is Luke Wilcox. Luke Wilcox is the one that I want to focus on most. Both of them are College Board presenters. Both of them are College Board graders. Both of them have been fed information from College Board as to what is important on the test. In fact, I watched one of their videos and they said, by the way, this isn't in the textbooks because the textbooks aren't that great or weren't that great at that time. And like they also talked about something that was they graded this past year that they never graded that way before. And so it was new, and they have the most current information. Those every afternoon they post a video. They posted one today. Those video links, you can go to the Google Classroom, it'll take you to my website, and then from my website, it will take you to those videos. So today, they're going in an order that I wish they wouldn't, but nonetheless, that's the order they chose. They're going to start off with hypothesis test and confidence intervals for proportions, and then hypothesis tests and confidence intervals for means, and then they're going to come back and work the rest of the course. The reason they chose to do it in that order is because some teachers, some schools had not finished hypothesis tests and confidence intervals for means and proportions, so they're making sure that everyone had at least seen that material once. So they're starting with that, and then they're going to work their way back through the course. Anyway, my thinking is I'm even watching their videos because if there's anything that I need to sit there and go, hey, I should add this or this would be helpful, I'm going to make sure that I have that for you guys as well. Again, you should watch their videos. The videos are about 45 minutes in length. Today's was 43 minutes. They explain a problem. They work all the way through it. You do not have to watch it live. You can watch it live. It starts at 1 o'clock, but you can watch it later. And as far as that goes, you can run at a little bit of faster speed, so you don't have to. You can still understand them, but you can speed up that time if that helps you out. So that's the next thing. So first we have the notes and Zoom meetings that we have. Then we have the College Board videos. Then there's this thing that I've sent a link to you guys, Online Stat Medic. Online Stat Medic normally is something they charge at least $29. They charge $29 for the review course. This year it's free, and it's put out by this same Luke Wilcox. So, and basically a couple of years ago or 3 years ago or whatever, he was Teacher of the Year when you're getting Teacher of the Year for the state of Michigan. When that happens, you actually don't have to work that year. You get to choose a project, and his project was to make the stat website, which I think is interesting that they basically paid him something that he actually gets to make extra money on the side. But what do you know? Education's about the money, I guess. Nonetheless, they're very, very good videos. One of the things that they actually provide in the video that's very, very useful is they'll give you a practice problem, etc., and a scoring rubric, but they also will break down the scoring rubrics for you so you know what's important. Now, every single one of the units takes about 45 minutes if you skip the multiple choice. If you have time, do the multiple choice. If you don't have time, don't do the multiple choice. But I highly recommend you do these problems. I think they'll make a huge difference. And you're sitting there going, well, are these going to be for a grade? And it's like, no, the grades are specifically just the multiple choice that's posted online on the College Board website. Unfortunately, that's not going to be enough to pass the exam. You're going to have to do more than that if you want to be successful on the exam. And I think most of us do. And honestly, during this COVID crisis, having a very positive experience on it, I think would be very beneficial. I think it'd be great to go, hey, you know what? We were in school, but I was able to do this. I think that will help you. And then the last thing is, and this is what Mrs. Lamb's idea was, she goes, let's have Stat Saturdays. And I was like, where have you been? We were in the middle of social distancing. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking. And then I read the next sentence. She goes, online. And she was like, hey, we could have do a couple problems. And so to that end, this is what we're going to do. The next 5 Saturdays, we're going to have a Stat Saturday. So unfortunately, virtual tacos aren't that good, so we probably won't have any virtual tacos. But on a Stat Saturday, what will happen, and they'll start at 8:30, we will assign a problem. And basically, these are problems that would fall into the 15-minute category. We're only going to give you 13 minutes to do the problem because we want you to get the idea of being able to work rapidly through a problem, so when you get to the test day, you don't struggle. So basically, we're going to time you for 13 minutes. So we'll assign the problem, give you 13 minutes, you work it on your own sheet of paper. And then after the 13 minutes that are up, we're going to come back on, Mrs. Lamb or myself or both of us, and we're going to actually break the problem down. We're going to work the problem out, etc. We're going to show how we thought about it, what you need to be careful of, what you need to think about. And then after that, we're going to go through the scoring rubric. Okay? So we'll go through the scoring rubric. This is what you needed to do if you had done this, and that way you'll know pretty much where you sit. So then we sat there and go, okay, how many problems? And we're like, you know what? We can get through fairly easily 6 FRQs in a Saturday. And if that ends up being too ambitious, we'll do 5. And if 6 isn't enough, we'll do 7. So somewhere between 5 and 7, aiming for about 6 FRQs from 8:30 to 12:30 in the morning for the next 5 Saturdays. We are not going to mix FRQs. So this first Saturday, the very first Saturday, which will be this Saturday, April 11th, we will cover what Stats Medic refers to as Unit 1 and Unit 2, which is displaying 1 and 2 variable data, displaying and describing 1 and 2 variable data. To that end, please go to the Stats Medic and watch their videos. Go to the Stats Medic and work those problems. Again, that link is provided. I'm not sure exactly how the login works, but it's going to be Reagan, NEISD, Spencer. But I don't know how and that I've sent the link to you guys. If someone's struggling with it, please let me know so that we can try to figure it out. Okay, so that's the Stats Saturday. The first Stats Saturday will be displaying and describing data for 1 and 2 variable data. When we did displaying and describing data, we focused on 1 variable data. We then did 2 variable data at the end of the year when we did regression. So scatter plots, et cetera, will be included in this section. All right. The next Saturday, we'll be doing sampling design, so bias, surveys, et cetera, along with the first half of probability. The next Saturday, when those will be units 3 and 4 of StatMedic. The next Saturday will be units 4 and 5. So in other words, we'll finish up 4 and we'll start 5. And basically, those are what we call distributions, the probability distributions, the normal, the binomial, the geometric, and then the distribution of means. All right, the following Stat Saturday would be confidence intervals and the hypothesis test. And we are going to spread that over 2 Saturdays because we can't adequately cover all of that in 1 Saturday. So that right there is the idea behind Stat Saturdays. So basically, here's what we have for preparation. 1, we have the Zoom meetings. 2, you have the College Board breakdown. And these are what they think is important, the College Board thinks is important for the test. Next, you have the StatsMedic. Then finally, we have the Stats Saturday to provide the practices. I am 97% confident that this, if you follow through with this plan, that you will not only be successful on the test, you will actually achieve the score that you desire. All right. So, but it's going to be dependent upon you because this is not for grading. This is actually going to be, hey, how motivated are you to come in and come online and do that work? Obviously, you can email me questions, etc., and I'll be more than happy to go over it. So the 5th Stat Saturday is May 9th. So technically, we have room for 1 more Stat Saturday, May 16th. I'm sure I will have a Stat Saturday then, but I'm not sure what that will entail. That'll kind of depend on the feedback from you guys. So with that said, I've talked for a long time, just about a full 30 minutes uninterrupted, and I appreciate that. I'd like to open this up to questions that you all might have. So if y'all want to come back online, please know I'm going to keep I'm still going to keep recording this, so that because people will probably have the same question you did. So please know that you are going to be recorded, and I'll go from there. All right. So I got a question on the chat. It says, "Where's the link for the StatsMedic?" If you will go to the Google Classroom, there should be a link in the Google Classroom for StatsMedic. All right. Who else has a question?
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
I actually have 2 questions. So my first question is, for the Stats Saturdays that we're doing, if we can use our notes on the actual AP test, would you recommend using notes on the Stats Saturdays just to practice finding it, or to not use them?
I don't know. I think that depends on the person. I have a feeling that you'd probably be better off trying to do it without the notes on Stats Saturday, but after the Stats Saturday, it might be beneficial to you to look up those topics afterwards and go, hey, you know what, this was in this section, so it helps familiarize yourself with the note spiral, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I don't think with 13 minutes, I don't think you're going to have time to thumb through your note spiral, but you're certainly, because you are permitted to use it on the exam, I have no problem with you using it during the Stats Saturday. And it'd be much better. And if you look at a problem and you're stuck, you're certainly better off trying to find some help than sitting there and wait 13 minutes for me to come on and give an answer. So does that kind of answer that question?
Yes. And then my other question was, would it be possible for you, I I don't know about other people, but I tend to find that things get lost in the Google Classroom, and I have a hard time finding specific things because everything looks the same. So would it be possible to put the recorded versions of your Zoom classes on like a YouTube channel and sending us the link to that or something?
Okay, so here's the problem with the Google Classroom. I don't know how to fix the issue you're talking about. To that end, the very first link, or almost every time I send a link, it will send you to my web page. On my web page, I will post the links for whatever it is. So for tomorrow, well, actually, I guess for today, there will be a link said, hey, send it to my webpage, and from there you can find this one, because you're right. So basically, there will be a lot. I'm going to try to have a running list of links posted. So you just go to the latest Google Classroom post, and it should take you to the latest video. Does that seem to? Well, that. By the way, guys, is that something that will work for you all? I hope. Maybe. We have death silence. If you have a better suggestion, let me know. Thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Okay, so Ashlyn, do you have another question? Okay, so a question was.
That's it.
Okay, another question. It came up with dual credit. Great question. Is anything going on with dual credit? And the answer is, I don't know the honest answer to that. I've asked question after question after question after that, and you all are kind of in a special situation if you are dual credit AP Statistics. Here's why. Because if you're in dual credit AP Statistics, you actually finish the course. So we've actually covered the entire course. What I ran through my dean is, and unless someone comes back with pushback at a later date, which could happen, I'm taking the average of the 3/4, and that's what your that would be your that would be your college average. All right, and remember, they don't look at 93, 94, 89. They just look at A or B or C. And so if you have an 89.5, you have an A, and that's what it would show. Obviously, the averages for how the district's going to work is up in the air at this point. As far as whether or not there will be a final exam for dual credit, I don't know. I haven't been told that there is. If there is going to be one, trust me, I will send out a substantial review for it. Great question. If we're taking the exam on the computer, would security measures prevent us from opening another tab? And my understanding is, no, it will not. However, that's my understanding. So, and my understanding is it's not going to do that. Would it be better to use notes on a separate device like a cell phone? That depends on the size of your monitor. Basically, my thought is on is I want to make sure that you can actually read the problem well. Okay, that's what's and so if you're on the phone, I'm afraid you won't. If you're downloading the problem to your phone, which is permitted, I'm afraid you may not be able to read it well. Will the midterm exam average into the dual credit grade? I'm not sure what that means. So basically, if you're saying, hey, am I going to use the midterm? Basically, I'm going to say the first, we covered the class in 3 semesters. So the first semester, in 3 quarters. So the first semester will represent 2/3 of your grade. The third quarter will represent 1/3 of your grade. So if the first semester average was a 93, That'll be 2/3 of your grade. And let's just say 84 was the third quarter, that'll be 1/3 of your grade. And whatever that averages out, what it'll be. Are there answers for the describing and displaying data packet? Not a nice question because they're not there yet. I am going to make those. We're probably a couple days out because I need to make sure I get the probability taken care of. But yes, I will post those and you will know when they're posted. Good question, actually. What else? Real quickly, was this helpful? And actually, to that end, if this was helpful, please let your friends know that I will post this, and they can watch it and hopefully get that information. Do y'all have any other questions? The other thing is, this is Mrs. Lamb and I. These are our best ideas, but we're not the ones who are having to study and take the exam. So if y'all have ideas, send them to us, or if you want to type them in to me now, you can either email me those, or you can type them into us. We want to give you what you need to be successful. And most of what you do to prepare for this test is going to be upon you. Ms. Stoltz, in regards to other dual credit classes, I can't speak to them. I'm only talking about the way I'm going to approach it in this class. I don't know what other dual credit classes will do. It's just in our class, since we actually cover it, because I was all concerned about it, and then I emailed and I said, hey, you know what? We've actually covered the material. Can't we just use what we already have and call it good? As long as they're doing their AP work, because you will receive an AP grade. Okay. Anything else? Well, if that's it, I'm going to turn the recorder off, and that way y'all can, if y'all just want to talk with each other, that's fine.